Hello everyone, this is Sabita Sunkara. Welcome back to our Enterprise Data Engineer interview series. In today's episode, we are going to discuss one of the most frequently asked interview questions in Databricks, Azure Data Factory, Snowflake, and Spark interviews. So, the question will be: can you explain Medallion architecture and how would you implement it in a real enterprise project? So many candidates simply say bronze is raw data, silver is clean data, and gold is business data. But experienced data engineers explain why this architecture exists, what business problem it solves, and how it's implemented in production. So let's understand it from a real world perspective. Okay, then let's begin with a real enterprise scenario. Imagine we are working for a multinational retail company like Walmart or Amazon. Every minute data is coming from multiple systems. Customer orders come from the e-commerce application. Payment details arrive from payment gateways. Inventory updates come from ERP systems. Logistics partners continuously send shipment information, and website clickstream data records every customer interaction. So at first glance, it might seem like we can load all this data into a single database and start building reports. But in reality, that approach creates serious production issues. So different systems send data in different formats, right? So some records contain missing values, some are duplicated because of retries, and some arrive late due to network delays, and APIs may change their schema without notice, and files can be incomplete or corrupted. So if we allow business users to build reports directly on this raw data, they will quickly lose confidence because their dashboards show inconsistent numbers. So this is exactly why Medallion architecture was introduced. Instead of transforming data immediately, we divide the pipeline into three logical layers. So the bronze layer safely stores the raw data exactly as it arrives. So the silver layer applies validation, cleaning, deduplication, and business rules. Finally, the gold layer contains trusted business ready data sets that power dashboards, analytics, and machine learning. So this layered approach improves data quality, governance, traceability, and scalability while making the platform easier to maintain. Then now let's understand the architecture itself. So everything begins with the source layer. Data can come from ERP systems, CRM applications, APIs, files, LOT devices, clickstream events, or transactional databases. So the next layer is ingestion. Depending on the use case, we ingest data using batch pipelines through Azure Data Factory, streaming through Kafka or Azure Event Hubs, or CDC for database changes. Now let's talk about three Medallion layers. So bronze layer. The bronze layer stores data exactly as it arrives from the source. We don't perform transformations here because this layer acts as the system of record. If something goes wrong later in the pipeline, we can always replay the original data from bronze. In production, this data is usually stored in Delta or Parquet format inside a data lake. Then the silver layer. The silver layer is where data engineering actually begins. Here we clean the data, remove duplicates, validate mandatory columns, handle null values, standardize formats, and apply business rules. For example, customer IDs are standardized, invalid records are quarantined, and duplicate orders are removed. So the output is trusted and consistent data. Then the gold layer is designed for business consumption. Instead of storing raw transactions, we create fact tables, dimension tables, KPIs, or customer 360 datasets, sales summaries, and analytical models. So, Power BI reports or machine learning models on business users should always consume gold data rather than bronze. So, another important part of this architecture is governance. Across all layers, we implement Unity catalog, data lineage, access control, auditing, and metadata management to ensure security and compliance. So, let's follow a single customer order through the complete pipeline. So, a customer places an order on the website. So, the application sends order details to the ingestion layer using APIs or Kafka. So, the first destination is the bronze layer. Here, we simply store the data exactly as it arrives. Even if a field is missing or contains unexpected values, we don't modify it because bronze represents the original source. Next, the pipeline moves data into the silver layer. So this is where validation begins. We check mandatory fields, remove duplicate orders, standardize timestamps, enrich customer information, and apply business logic. Suppose an order references a customer who does not exist in the master table. That record is moved to an error or quarantine table for investigation instead of allowing incorrect data into reporting. So finally, the clean data reaches the gold layer. Here we create business ready data sets such as daily sales, customer 360, product performance, and revenue KPIs. These data sets are then consumed by Power BI dashboards or executives, data scientists, and operational applications. At every stage, we also perform quality checks, monitor freshness, validate row counts, and ensure SLA compliance. Right? So, this is part of the interviews usually expect from experienced engineers. So, building the Medallion layers is only the beginning. Running them successfully in production requires strong engineering practices. First, we define data quality rules in the silver layer. Every dataset must pass schema validation, null checks, duplicate checks, referential integrity, and business rule validation. Second, governance is critical. So, we implement Unity catalog for centralized metadata, RBAC for secure access, and data lineage so we can trace every report back to its original source. So third, performance optimization. We partition large data sets, optimize delta files, apply Z ordering where appropriate, and acquire historical data to reduce storage costs. So monitoring is equally important. We monitor pipeline execution, data freshness, SLA compliance, processing failures, and data quality metrics. Alerts are automatically sent whenever thresholds are violated. One common mistake we have to see is in transforming data directly in bronze. So bronze should always preserve the original data. Another mistake is allowing business users to access bronze directly. So only trusted gold data sets should be exposed for reporting. So if we are in interview, the interviewer can ask like, can you explain Medallion architecture? So our answer would be, Medallion architecture is a layered data architecture that progressively improves data quality while preserving traceability and supporting scalability analytics. We have to begin by understanding the business requirements and identifying all data sources. Data is then ingestion through batches, streaming or CDC pipelines into the bronze layer, where it is stored exactly as received to preserve the original source data. The next, data moves into the silver layer, where validation, duplication, schema standardization, enrichment, and business rules are applied to produce trusted data sets. Then finally, curated data sets are published into the gold layer, where business users, Power BI dashboards, machine learning models, and analytics teams consume optimized data. Throughout the pipeline, we have to implement governance using Unity Catalog, enforce access controls, monitor data quality, track lineage, optimize storage and compute costs, and continuously monitor SLA compliance. So, based on the experience, Medallion architecture is not just about bronze, silver, and gold. It's about building reliable, scalable, secure, and business-focused data platforms that organization can trust for critical decision making. So, before I conclude, here few practical tips. That is, never modify raw data in a bronze layer. Apply all cleaning and business rules in the silver layer. Publish only business ready data sets in the gold layer. So build automated data quality checks into every pipeline. Then design for scalability from day one because data volumes always grow in production. So that brings us to the end of today's episode on Medallion architecture. The biggest takeaway point is simple, that is, bronze preserves the truth, then silver builds trust, and gold delivers business values. So, if you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to press the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming Enterprise Data Engineer interview series. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next episode where we'll discuss incremental load versus full load. Thank you.